Hi guys, I'm Tracy. Thank you for joining me today. So today's video is going to be part of a follow-up that I'm doing about the Sonia G Soft Cheek Brush, the new batch that came out, I would say about a month ago, and comparing it to the original version, as well as introducing some new brushes that I just received today. So first of all, let's kind of follow up to my last video, and what I was going to do is the newer version of the soft cheek brush from Sonia G. I have now used it for a few weeks. I've washed it once, and so I think now is a good time to compare the first one I got from the original batch to the more recent one. So what I'm going to do is, so I have my brushes right here in this container, and I'm going to, without looking at the handle, pick up the two soft cheek brushes. So there is a little diamond next to the word Japan for the new soft cheek brush, and I'm going to see if I can tell without looking at that which one is which. So I'm going to pick both of them up here. So I could already tell, not without even touching it. I think this is the original, and this is the newer batch. I can actually tell by the viewfinder because the shape is a little different. And I don't know if it's just because I've been using this one longer and it's been used and washed more, but let's see. And I'm right, this is the one with the little diamond. And so this is the newer version. Sorry, it's not really focusing that quickly, but it does have a diamond, and this is the first one I got from the first launch. So the main difference is kind of the same as what I said in my last video. The original one is more dense, so I'm pretty sure there are more hairs. I think there is a slight difference in the shape. I think the original one is a little flatter, and I feel like the newer one is a little bit more tapered, if you can kind of see that. And the bristles on this one, the newer version, are softer. And yeah, I can definitely tell. And I haven't been using my Olaplex shampoo because I feel like that sometimes makes the bristles a little too soft, and you don't want your bristles to be too soft. You want them to be able to pick up product pretty well. So those are the main differences that I see. Do I recommend the new one? Yes. However, I do feel like it kind of comes between the older version and the Hakuhodo G5538, which is more sparse, and the hairs are undyed, but the soft cheek, the more recent one, feels much softer, and this one is a little bit more coarse, and it's a little, like, actually a lot sparser. You can see right there. But they both have a kind of similar length and a similar shape, and this one is $30 and this one is $48. Now you have to consider that Hakuhodo charges $9 with all of their orders. So if you're just gonna buy this one, I would say go ahead and get this one, because when it does come out, because the shipping will be free. But if you're gonna put a Hakuhodo order in anyways, I think this is a really great brush for the price, and the results I get from this are identical to the original soft cheek brush that I've been using all this time. So I really highly recommend this. This shape is kind of difficult to find, and a lot of brands don't make this. Wayne Goss makes it. His is number 14, and MAC makes one. But from what I'm hearing is the MAC synthetic version is really not good. So I think this is a really great deal if you're looking for a cheek brush with this shape. So now let me just really quickly go over some of the other brushes that I went over in my last video about these, in case you didn't catch that one. Designer Pro, it's obviously bigger, the bristles are longer, and the Designer Pro is it has a pinched ferrule. This one is round, and it's got a kind of like a candle flame shape. And a lot of people compare the Designer Pro to the Goss airbrush, which I can see why you would compare them, but the Designer Pro is much more substantial. The ferrule is much bigger, there are more hairs, and it's not as soft because this is dyed goat hair and this is blue squirrel, so this is like very minky. And I actually do prefer the Designer Pro because I do use this a lot, but it doesn't hold a lot of product, so you do have to dip a lot, I feel. But these are both really amazing brushes, and I use this mainly for highlight. Now I'm gonna go over the classic cheek, and I really don't put this in the same category because it is so much more dense, and it provides a much more precise application and a darker application, whereas these it's more of a diffused look that you'll get with your blush. And now the new brush that I just received, so I haven't even used it yet, so I really can't speak too much on it, but this is the Cheek Pro, and I got this kind of on a last minute because it really rounds out my Sonia G cheek brush collection. And I really, if you guys have these brushes, I think you will understand how special they are. So I pretty much have all of Sonia G's blush brushes, or brushes that are made for blush, except for the Phase 2, which is kind of more of a shape like this, like a denser, this is a J210. It kind of reminds me of this one, and I'm kind of regretting not getting that one, but it's still in stock, so if I do feel like getting that one. With the Cheek Pro, this will go out of stock, so I wanted to make sure I got it before then. And this one, if I had to compare it, it is most similar to the Designer Pro. The difference is this one is more flat or domed, the Cheek Pro, and this one is more tapered, and the bristles are slightly longer. And the ferrule is fairly similar in shape and size. It's pinched, but ferrule on the Designer Pro has a little bit of a curve. I think that's what they call it. And so that actually pinches. I don't think you guys can see it on camera, but what that does is it pinches the hairs a little bit more, whereas the Cheek Pro, correct me if I'm wrong, the ferrule is like this as opposed to that. So if that makes sense. But I'm going to use this and, you know, give it a wash and see how it changes, and then I can give a little bit more of a detailed comparison to the other cheek brushes. And then really quick, these are not I don't use these for the same purposes, but the mini cheek, I use this for highlight, and then the Detail Pro also I use this for highlight, and these are awesome. They're both made of dyed and undyed Psycho goat hair. So something that I wanted to bring up, if you guys are considering the newer batch of the soft cheek, something that I've noticed is different is when you pick up a blush, the original version picks up more. So I feel like there's a little less work involved. So like when you're picking it up like this, I just feel like because there's more bristles, it just really like, I don't really have to go back in a whole lot to get the color I want. And I don't really like a strong blush. Whereas this one, I don't know if it's because it's silkier or there's less bristles, it doesn't pick up as much. At least that's what I'm observing so far. It's not a huge difference. It's just one of the things that I've been noticing recently. So I've been using this one over the other one just to get more use out of it, see how it changes. but I think it's, as far as the results are, they're very similar, but this one I do think is superior to the newer batch. But this is in no way a bad brush. This is amazing. I think anyone who were to get it will not be disappointed. So that is the cheek brushes that I wanted to compare for you guys. Now the other two brushes that I just got, and this one I'm really excited about because I am looking for another brush that I could put cream products on, like cream, bronzer, and blush, and possibly use it for concealer. And I got the Koyudo BP014. Now this is so much smaller than I thought it was going to be because it's considered a foundation brush. So this to me is not an appropriate foundation brush size, although after I use it and wash it, I'm sure will kind of bloom. But it does remind me kind of the, and sorry it's dirty, kind of reminds me of the Hakuhodo the Takumi T6. It's almost identical in length, and it's actually very similar in the way the ferrule is pinched. It's just the Koyudo is much broader. You can see it right there. And I use this one only for under eye concealer and, you know, like spot concealing. So I have a feeling that's what I'm going to use this for. I think it is a little too small for me to put cream blush on, but I will definitely try it out. And it does, at first glance, look like this side is more, the cut is more curved, and then it's more flat here. But I'm gonna have to use it and see if it really stays that way, because it is very slight. But kind of like how this one has a side that you do this with, it looks like this one also has a side that you would use like this. So I'm really excited about this one, and I will follow up with you guys and give you guys more information on this. And then the other one I got, which I've been really meaning to get another Sonia G eye brush, because I've only gotten her soft flat definer. So I really want to try one of her worker brushes, and this is the Worker Pro, and I thought it would be comparable to the Hakuhodo G5538, but it's much smaller. I think even after I use it, it is sparser and narrower, and actually a lot more tapered. So I'm going to use this for, I'm thinking for blending, but now that I'm looking at it, it's probably, it might be better for packing like shimmers, but I'm going to give it a try and see what I think this works best for. So these three are the ones that I got today that I want to share with you guys. So I know when I do these first impressions, there's a lot of information that's missing because I haven't actually used them. But I also like sharing the excitement of getting new brushes, because it's probably, for me, the most exciting package to get when I get my beautylish or Hakuhodo shipment. It just brings me so much joy, and I don't have a lot of people in my life, in real life, that have the same appreciation for brushes. So you know, I like using YouTube, and hopefully you guys have a similar feeling for these brushes as I do. So that's pretty much all I have today. I'm not going to be able to do a video for probably another week, so I want to make sure this gets up right away. And if you guys have any feedback on the brushes that I talked about today that I maybe missed out, please leave them in the comments below, and I will see you all next time. All right, bye.